always have a mouthful, but when I do, you'll see. Just stop. Just stop right now. Just find something else better to do with your life, young lady. That's enough. That's enough.
I'm not judging nobody or nothing.
You're not judging, but I am. So let me take a look here. Okay, this says 304 Chronicles. We listen and don't judge. I don't know how much you're selling it for, but it needs to stop before you hurt yourself. Okay, look. All right, you got the toes, you got the cute shoes and everything, but like, look at the floor. How are you okay with this? There's no way on earth. First of all, there's no way on earth that I would do this. But if for some reason I decided to do this, I would not step foot into a place like this. Period. Ew. I would be too afraid of getting something just by sitting down. And just imagine, you're going further than that. No thanks.
This truck driver, no, he wrong, y'all. Trifling.
You trifling.
No place like home. No place like home.
The nerve for her to even say that.
And tragic deaths echoed in their minds as they left. A thrill, certainly, running through them. So the group went about their day, and later that night, everybody met up at Patricia's house for a Halloween party. The air was filled with scents of pumpkin spice and a soft glow of flickering candles. Amid the laughter and snacks, Dennis pulled out a Ouija board. He had picked it up at the thrift store earlier that week, and he was ready to put it to use. And what is a better perfect night than Halloween night? So Dennis pulls out the Ouija board and says, "We should try it." And as he's saying this, he is grinning mischievously. The others were hesitant, but their love of the dark and mysterious, it outweighed their fear. So Patricia suggested, let's summon something harmless, as if you're in control of that. Patricia's thinking maybe a late relative. It's Halloween after all, the veil is thin tonight. So the group agreed, and they all decided to call upon Dion's late grandmother, a woman he often spoke of with fondness. So they dimmed the lights. Forming a circle around the board, Tommy led the session, speaking in a low, steady voice as they each placed 2 fingers on the planchette. "Is there a spirit here with us?" he asked. And everyone is sitting there waiting with their fingers on the board. And for a second, nothing happened. Then the planchette began to move. At first, they accused each other of pushing it, but the movements became more deliberate, spelling out words like hello. So Dion asked, "Grandma, is that you? Granny, this you?" At this point, Dion's voice is like trembling slightly, and the planchette slid to yes. And the friends at this point, they're all looking at each other like with this nervous look in their face, like, what the fuck? They're all nervous, but they all continue. So Becky decided to ask the grandma, "Are you okay?" And the board spelled no. And Patricia asked, "What do you mean?" The board did not answer the question. Instead, the planchette started moving erratically, spelling out the word not alone. Oh, I should have warned you guys at the beginning, but maybe you shouldn't watch this one at night, which I don't listen to me anyway. So not alone is crazy. So Dennis asks, "Who else is there?" Mind you, Dennis' voice is shaking too. The board responded with a name that none of them recognizes. It spelled out letter by letter, Abigail. When suddenly the room just grew colder. The flickering candles extinguished themselves, plunging the room into complete darkness. A faint otherworldly whisper filled the air, but none of them could make out the words of what it was saying. Dion, who is visibly shaking, at this point he's full-blown scared, he tried to end the session. "Goodbye," he said very firmly as he moves the planchette over to the goodbye side. However, the planchette did not budge. Y'all ready for it to end? the spirits just got started. And I know you guys are gonna hate me for this because you guys hate part 2s, but in honor of having 200,000 followers, I do what the fuck I want. If you guys want to know what happened to the kids, spoiler alert, traumatizing. Go ahead and like for part 2 and also leave a comment as well. I will be dropping part 2 as soon as this video hits 10,000 views.
Bye.
That can take an hour, that can take 3 hours, it's up to y'all. Those of you who are not already, please make sure you follow me on Instagram just so that I know that it's real. I'm trying to get to 7,000 followers, so please go follow me on Instagram. Also, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel as we don't know what's gonna happen to this app. I love you, my abducted humans, wholeheartedly, and I will see you guys in part 2.
Oh, this already looks creepy. Mm-mm. Stop it. Y'all, why do I need to pay attention to everything? Like, look at the look at her ear, or him, he, she, I don't know. Why is this necessary? All right, let's continue. Let's see how bad it gets. Look at the face. Look at the neck. I'm done. What is this? Oh, it's a girl. All right, let's see. Let's see the outcome here, because now she's wiped her face. She realized she was looking crazy. Okay. Impressive.
Y si pones a joder mucho, lo endulzo con una uña.
No, con una uña no. Con una uña no.
Muñeña.
¿Qué creen? Que ella no hace nada.
Pones a joder mucho, lo endulzo con una uña.
That's disgusting.
If you have a family history of witchcraft, please just tell me your stories, because I got an email from a guy named Lazar who told me his grandmother was a witch, and even though she was a good witch and tried to use her gift for good, sometimes bad things still happen. And he told me a few stories about things that happened while he was growing up in her house. So him and his mother always lived with him throughout his childhood, because I guess his mother got pregnant young. His dad was never really in the picture, and they just generally didn't have a lot of money. And in his household, it wasn't a question of whether or not Celeste had a gift. It was a fact. It was not something that he was ever taught to question, and not until he got older and like went into the outside world that he realized like a lot of people didn't have this gift. And the town that they lived in was in rural Louisiana. He said nobody in the town really had a lot of money, but Celeste was both well known, respected, and a little bit feared in their town, because her magic was rooted in intuition, in rituals, and in things that she had learned that had been passed down from generation to generation. He said in their house, the supernatural and the mundane blurred together like it was nothing. And Celeste often tried to help the local townspeople like find lost objects. In one case, she helped locate a child that had gone missing a few hours earlier. She would channel deceased relatives of grieving people. She had a bunch of tools all around the house that he was not allowed to touch. And he said as a kid, he would get upset because he didn't have this gift and he didn't understand why he couldn't play with some of her tools. And she told him that the gift chooses people. It's not something that people can just decide to have.
Right.
But that with that gift also comes responsibility. But he said he was 7 when he first learned that good intentions can sometimes open bad doors. So this man came to the house and he wanted Celeste to channel his daughter, who he had recently lost to a disease. I guess she was a young girl. And for some reason, he said he remembered Celeste did not want to do it. He didn't know why, but normally she was like down to help anybody. But that time specifically, she was like, no. And the guy begged her. So finally, against her better judgment, she agrees. And Lazar said that he was often allowed to watch the rituals. There was nothing bad going on, but for some reason that night his mom told him he had to go to bed. But being like a little 7-year-old, he wanted to see, and he was being nosy. So he went to the top of the stairs and he was watching them all sitting around the kitchen table with Celeste's tools all laid out. He said she had dowsing rods, a spirit slate, and then this little crystal pendulum that she always wore around her wrist. At first she tries to contact the daughter with this pendulum, but she's not getting anything. So she decides she's going to go into a trance, and she takes her spirit board out. He described it as something like a chalkboard. So she's holding the chalk. She goes into the trance, and her hand started writing in these really jerky movements. And she writes, "I'm here," in like childlike letters. The man immediately starts sobbing. He's like, "Oh my gosh, I knew she wasn't gone. Like, what is she saying to you?" Celeste doesn't say anything. She's just sitting there with this calm look across her face, still in her trance. And the man is like still crying. He's like, "What is she saying?" And as she's not answering him, he's growing more frantic. And he's like, "What is her message for me? Like, why is she here? What does she want to tell me?" And Celeste, he said her face didn't change, but he noticed that she gripped the table a little bit harder. And the man at this point is like yelling at her. He's like, "Tell me what my daughter wants to tell me." And all of a sudden Celeste's eyes pop open from this like relaxed state that she had on her face, and her hand jerks across the chalkboard and it writes, "Not her, not her, not her," 3 times in a different font. Celeste slams down the board and she gets up and she yells at the man to leave. There is somewhat of an argument because the man is convinced that it was his daughter and she did want to talk to him, but Celeste is insistent. She kicks him out of the house and he stumbles off into the night. Celeste takes the chalk and the spirit slate and goes off after him, and she doesn't come back until the early hours of the morning. But while she was gone, Lazar was laying in his bed trying to fall asleep when he hears 3 soft knocks coming from the ceiling above his bed. And he said at that point he was used to paranormal activity and like hearing bumps and things moving around in the night, and it never really scared him before because of the nature of Celeste's work. He was used to it, but he said that night it did scare him, probably because the state of the man, like, who was frantic when he left the house. So he goes into his mom's room. He tells her he's hearing a noise coming from the attic. She comes into his room and she basically just tells him, "Don't acknowledge it, don't invite them. They can't do anything to you if you don't invite them." He said when Celeste returned, she no longer had the chalk or the spirit slate, but then she was sick in bed for 3 weeks and she refused to see anybody. Everybody was really worried about her, but she ended up making a full recovery. Not long after that, another woman comes to the house and she says she needs help finding her late husband's wedding ring. He had gotten sick all of a sudden and passed away, and his wedding ring had gone missing in the days leading up to his passing. The woman was convinced that her husband couldn't rest until his ring was found, so Celeste agrees to help, and she pulls out her scrying mirror, and Lazar is allowed to actually watch this ritual, so he's sitting with them. He describes her scrying mirror as like a black mirror, basically. So she's looking into it and she whispers, "Where is the ring?" And he goes, walks behind her, stares over her shoulders because he's looking into the mirror, seeing if he can see anything. And he says, "Nothing appeared." But then she says, "I see it. It's in this table." And she describes the table to the woman, and the woman's like, "I don't know, I have a lot of tables in my house. Like, can you come over there and maybe you can identify the table?" And Celeste says, "Sure." So she's watching Lazar that day. His mother's out somewhere, I don't know. They go over to the woman's house, and Celeste identifies the table that the ring is in, and the ring is in the drawer. So the woman's all excited. She picks it up, she puts it on her finger, and then she gasps and she drops the ring on the floor. And they're like, "What happened?" And she's like, "It burned me." Celeste grabs a towel and she picks up the ring and she hands the ring in the towel to the woman, and she said, "He didn't want you to find it, you need to bury it." And she instructs the woman to bury the ring beneath a tree in their yard. That night, Lazar heard sobbing coming from the woods behind their house, and he said it lasted until dawn. Lazar was 19 when Celeste finally passed away, but before she did, they were talking, and he told her that he had regrets that he didn't inherit her gift. And she basically tells him, "It's not so much as a gift as it is a burden. Every time I help someone, I take part of their pain. And sometimes when you're trying to help people, you invite things into this world that don't belong." Lazar's mother is still alive. He said she has somewhat of a gift, but not to the extent that Celeste had, and she still lives in Celeste's house along with all of Celeste's tools. And his mother has told him that, like, these are yours, you can do whatever you want with them. And he said he doesn't know what to do with them because it feels wrong to give them away, but it also feels wrong to hold on to them when they weren't meant for him. Lazar said I could use his real name, so he'll be in the comments. Let him know if you have any thoughts on what to do with Celeste's tools, and keep sending me your spooky, scary stories. I'll keep adding them to this playlist.
What is that?
Biggest regret, not being diligent about flossing my teeth, flossing and brushing in general. Some people can get away without flossing, some people cannot.
No, they cannot.
I was one of those people who had bacteria that...
Let me tell you something. No, you cannot get away with not flossing your teeth or brushing your tongue, because maybe you can't smell it, but everybody else can, and it stinks.
accumulated in my mouth because of not flossing. And this is a bacteria that brushing will not eliminate. There were just so many years in my life where I would brush my teeth and immediately after brushing my teeth, someone would tell me, dude, your breath is gnarly. What are you talking about, man? I just brushed my teeth. And I didn't understand it. In our society, when somebody has an odor emanating from their mouth, it's not societally okay to tell them. And in the case of people who have this bacteria in their mouth, they themselves can't detect it. So no one will tell you you've got it, and you don't know you have it yourself. So you just go through life just being foul and offensive to anybody who's within speaking distance from you. That's tough, man.
Now I know this ain't a Reese's peanut butter cup paper on his nose. I know it wasn't. Is that what it is? Is that a Reese's Pieces peanut butter cup on his nose? Because I got high and found out what that was. That's what it was. Y'all better tell me.
Not heard about the 28 girls that were hospitalized after using a Ouija board?
A seemingly innocent game quickly turns into a chilling encounter. This is the Ouija board in Kingsbridge. It all starts when a group of friends in the Bronx decides to experiment with a Ouija board. What seemed like harmless fun takes a dark turn when the board connects them with a spirit named Frank. At first, the group jokes around, but Frank's responses become unsettling. One user comments that using a Ouija board is like sending a group text to any spirit in the area, and it appears Frank was eager to respond. The story only deepens when Frank begins revealing personal information and even hints at unresolved messages. The comment section is flooded with warnings, with many sharing their own eerie Ouija board experiences. One commenter recounts a student who became unrecognizable after using the board, while another reveals that a spirit they contacted followed them home. The creator hints there's even more to the story, leaving viewers on edge. Whether you believe in the supernatural or not, one thing is certain. This is a cautionary tale about playing with things that invite the unknown.
I need to tell you something.
Okay.
You're not going to necessarily like this. Some of you need to leave. You need to leave. You need to leave the United States. You don't have months. Some of you might have weeks. Maybe.
Who is this contractor that's like bugging out here? I mean, yeah. I did hear somewhere, though, I can't remember where, that they were going to start putting a ban, or not a ban, but basically you cannot go anywhere without having a visa. So, yeah, that's a little bit scary. So basically you're going to be stuck, maybe. Just speculation, just saying. This is not, I don't want to create, you know, the whole scare and everything, but like, yeah.
You have spent the last 2 months pretending like this is not happening, like it's not coming. But it is coming. America is about to become a...
You could at least take your lanyard off so that you would not be identifiable. Jeez.
Christian nationalist fascist dictatorship. And some of you have been waiting for other people to stop this from happening. But it's happening. A lot of people got a lot of views telling you that something was going to stop this, or Congress was going to stop this, or the courts were going to stop this, and it wasn't going to happen. But it is going to happen. Trump will become the president on the 20th. And it's not necessarily Trump that you should be worried about. It is the people around Trump that you need to be worried about.
It's 8 days.
These people have lists. These people have agendas. These people have enemies. Some of you are enemies. And some of you need to leave. There are people of political power who have millions of dollars, have good lawyers, and those good lawyers told them, you need to leave. At least for inauguration. Go out of the country. You need to leave. The thing is, by the time you realize that you have to leave, by the time you realize that you have to leave now, you may...
Just show everybody your location, buddy. I mean... I'm pretty sure they know where you are now.
not be able to. You know, ostensibly we talk about the border wall and the border closing and closing the border, and it's easy to sort of imagine that that's just to prevent bad people from getting in, or quote unquote bad people from getting in. But the wall, the border, whatever you want to call it, is also going to prevent you from leaving. And if it doesn't, countries are not going to take former American citizens in 2 years or in 3 years. Ooh. When things are really, really bad. The logic is just self-fulfilling. If we mass deport people, those countries are not going to take. Those countries are not going to voluntarily say, "Oh, hey, Americans who don't want to be there anymore, come on over." It's not going to happen. So if you have a feeling that you're...
I mean, I don't know. I can't really agree with this guy because, like, every country that I've been to so far and lived in, they accept immigrants. It might not be permanently, but they do provide help and shelter and all those types of things for immigrants. So
not going to be safe, or you're an immigrant, or you're gay, or you're a woman, and you feel like the worst part of your gut that's telling you have to go is actually telling you the truth, you need to start looking at that now. I know that it's very hard and can be very expensive, and there are people who can't afford to leave, but you need to try to figure a way out. Not everyone needs to leave, but some of us need to leave.
Tell me a ghost story that sounds completely unbelievable but is entirely true.
I had to get an exorcism performed on the house that I lived in. So I am past the point in caring if people believe me or not. I'm just going to tell you what happened to me. So my entire account, over 5 million followers, originally started following me because of one video that started all of the makeup story times. That was the video that went with this makeup look right here. I had no idea how many people this place actually impacted until this week. So back in 2019, I probably went through one of the roughest breakups of my entire life. I was literally living with him and I left, we broke up, I moved out. And my best friend ended up getting her first place around this time. It was kind of an emergency situation for me. I needed somewhere to go and she was needing a roommate. So boom, perfect, it worked out. She did not know the history of the house whenever she got it. Why would you in most circumstances? I moved in, obviously just prefacing this was not the best time in my life. I was heartbroken, going through a lot of emotions, and her and I were like going out all the time. During all the other days of the week that we couldn't go out, she did night shift and I worked during the day. One particular night that she came home, I will never forget this. She came in at like...
So, sorry. I lost my focus, but just look at the background. Like, she has the picture frames and everything, but it's not a picture. It's actually something on the wall. I think that's pretty cool.
Probably like 5, 6 a.m. I was sound asleep and I just woke up to a scream. Like blood curdling, who was in the house, scream. I immediately wake up, rush out to see what's wrong, and she's like, I don't know, but I thought that I saw a man at the end of the hallway. I'm like, okay, that's terrifying, but obviously we're like, she's probably just tired. She just got back from night shift. Well, this is not the last time that she ends up seeing something. She wakes up in the middle of the night on another night and she sees something wrapped around her door frame. Another day she sees the same figure standing behind her in the mirror. There's a few other things that she sees this figure doing that's kind of dark that I'm not gonna say on here, but basically to say this figure comes up multiple times. And again, we kind of chalk it up to she's just really tired and under a lot of stress. It seems absolutely silly looking back on it, but again, we were partying a lot, we were drinking, maybe it was the alcohol, I don't really know. That was all until I came home one day. I walk into the house and go directly to the kitchen and start unloading my stuff in there. From the very back room, I heard a very clear and distinct, like, male, masculine voice say, "Hey, baby." Her dad would come over frequently and help fix things, so I immediately assumed that this was her dad, and so I just called back to him and was like, hey, you know, she's somewhere else right now, it's me, let me know if you need anything, whatever. I just called back to the voice. After about like 5 or 10 minutes of like fumbling around and setting up to do homework in the kitchen, I realized that I do not hear sounds of tools coming from the back bedroom. I walk back there. There's nobody there. My mind does not immediately jump to anything paranormal. I'm like, oh my gosh, there was someone in the backyard or someone broke into the house. I call my friend, I tell her what happened, and she's like, okay, I'm coming home. Get home, there's no one in the house, no signs of entry. I'm like, obviously somebody was just walking around the backyard being creepy. About another week or two passes, I end up going out on a date. This individual does not believe in the paranormal whatsoever. But after the date, I invite him inside and we're standing at the kitchen again. Immediately heard a distinct voice from the exact same place in the back bedroom, hey, are there any people here? And both his and my eyes like immediately locked, so I know that he heard it too. So he's like, there's gotta be someone here. He walks around, checks for any types of forced entry, no signs. Also, there was no signs of anyone being in the house too, because I was also worried about a frogger. But I asked him, what did you hear? And he was like, I heard a man's voice say, hey, are there any...
What is a frogger? I don't know what that is. Please let me know in the comments below.
people here? I'm like, no. It was definitely a woman's voice that said, hey, are there any people here? We're both in a disagreement over whether that voice was masculine or feminine. What I didn't know at the time is that sometimes whenever a place has a haunting or poltergeist activity, two people can hear the same voice as totally different things, depending on what is more alluring to them or however it wishes to present to them. I will say that the only thing that was obviously creepy about this house was that there was a shed in the backyard. It was very creepy on the inside. I don't really have like a solid photo of it now because I never dreamed that I was going to be telling this story online for a bunch of people. This is a screenshot from an old Snapchat video. I know you can't really see like what is on the wall there, but it's all like religious symbols. The only thing that was there frequently was like the hand with the eye in the middle. Not long after this, I got my first episode of sleep paralysis, and it was the scariest moment of my life, and I had no idea how bad this haunting was about to get.
Wait a minute. She literally has no ribcage. What is going on here? Can you breathe? Do you need some air?
One of the fascinating things about the alien story is the fact that they are in sex with human beings, and this has been going on since the 1950s.
Say what now?
There were stories from the 1950s. That's when it started off, and they were saying that it was demonic at first, and then it changed that there was aliens and they were being abducted, they was being impregnated, they was being taken up on the ship, impregnated, sometimes forcefully. Sometimes these beings would have sex with men. They would. I spoke about Willie Strieber on Daniel Knightley's live last night. That had him in stitches when I used the term wheelbarrowed. He's had a 1-foot probe stuck up his bottom, and yeah, I'm going to read some of these stories out now to people that might not be aware about the aliens having sex with humans. So listen to some of these. Take a listen. In the 1980s, alien abduction researchers in the USA accepted that women are routinely abducted, impregnated, and then re-abducted a few weeks later for the extraction of the hybrid fetus. These activities explained the short-lived pregnancy experienced by female abductees. As for the male abductees, they either claimed to have had intercourse with an alien woman or their sperm was extracted by mechanical ways by the alien. In his book, The Communion, Whitley Strieber famously described being abducted by aliens who inserted a 1-foot, 0.3 metre long anal probe inside him. It seemed to be...
Did he have a ruler to measure that? He said, wait a minute, before you put that in, let me measure it.
Living entities, so when it was taken out, he was surprised to see it was a mechanical device.
That's what I mean.
Jesus, I'd be able to taste that. Wow, go on, Whitley.
Abductions can happen anywhere and may last anything from 20 minutes to 5 days. The usual duration is 1 to 3 hours. Most happen at night.
You're getting hot thinking about that.
She says they took her again and introduced her to a half-human, half-alien daughter. Jerome added, their usual dress is a coverall or one-piece jumpsuit, often skin-tight, perhaps even so snug that the beings appear or are nude.
Imagine that being introduced to your daughter. Fuck all, look at the size of that head. That's not my dog. Look at those. Not having it. I want a DNA test right now.
A total of 212 people say they've been abducted since 2014. Many recall close encounters of a sexual kind, says Jerome Clark, author of UFOs in the late 20th century. He tells Aussie Peter Curry, who met blonde beings in Sydney in 1992, Jerome writes, he was shocked to see 2 strange women kneeling on his bed. Both were naked, one appeared Nordic and the other Asian. The book says the Nordic women pulled Peter's head to her breast 3 times and he bit her nipple. She tried to have sex with him but vanished, leaving blonde hair, which helped people believe the alien tale. Analysis of the locks found them to be a hybrid of Asian and Gaelic advanced DNA. A woman from Indianapolis, US, claimed aliens impregnated her aboard a ship, then returned months later for the fetus.
I know what you're thinking. Peter's a lucky guy, right? A lucky guy. Although
this cannot be real.
We've all been there. With the alien, I don't know. It could be. They could have been alien.
On reflection, Strieber says he regretted going public with his anal probe experience, but felt that he owed it to his readership to be honest about it. He believes he's guilty of being compulsively honest, as opposed to being a compulsive liar.
You can sort of see why they struggle. You're in the pub, Whitley comes in. Hey, Whitley, like, what are we doing? You want a pint? Cider? Yeah, cider. So what have you got to, pal? Oh, you'll never guess. Go on, tell me. I got a 1-foot probe stuck up my bum. What? I got 1 foot probe stuck up my bum. Alright. Who did that? What? Yeah, right. Wait, I'm going to go. I will check in with you next year, maybe, something like that. See you later.
Yet other abductees say that sex with an alien entity is the most pleasurable they've ever experienced, that the erotic thrills go way beyond what happens with a human partner. Watson, author of UFO Investigations Manual, says the first case of sexual contact in our flying saucer era were experienced by Antonio Villas Boas in South America. Boas claimed in 1957 he was dragged inside a flying saucer and forced to have sexual intercourse with a beautiful alien woman. When he left, she pointed at the stomach, at him, and then at the sky, implying she would have his child somewhere in outer space.
Oh. Well, that's fine. As long as there's no child support maintenance that's coming my way from Zeta Reticula, I'm fine with that. You know, I'm fine. If you want to just take it, be a single mum, whatever, up there, single dad, you go and be that. You go and do that. Just send me a few pictures every now and again.
He's got to be drunk. I mean, look back there in the background. He has like alcohol dispensers hanging on the wall. He's done. He's zooted. 2 shades to the wind.
That's going to put a twist to things, isn't it? You know, you've seen these films and stuff when these aliens come, take me to your leader. Oh no, take me to your bedroom.
I'm confused right now. Like, what is going on in the background? So that's water, and it looks like cranberry juice, and then he has like some soda thing like in the fireplace. Like, what is going on, buddy?
That's what they want to do. They want to come down here, and they want to hump us. They want to. For evidence only, I want to go through this. I want them blonde aliens to come down here. I don't care how many, right? And have their way with me. Take as many samples as they want, as long as it's naturally taken. I'm not having all these things and 1 foot things. No, not about that. I'm not about having any of that. I ain't being wheelbarrowed around the bed. I just want to, you know, normally. We shake hands, we hug, and you go and fly off to your galaxy.
And this is how diseases were created in the past. People experimenting with things other than their own kind. Just saying.
We'll never speak of it again. And we'll do videos on it. That is it.
Anyways, if you guys enjoyed this video, please let me know in the comments below, and I will see you in the next one.